Well, welcome everybody. Happy Monday. And as we were saying, welcome to May. We are going into our another month. And as you guys know, the other excitement that May brings is the news that we are in phase 1 of starting to open up our state. So I know there's going to be probably some good discussion on that today. We also, for those of you who've been joining us regularly, and maybe some of you who are back, we've got a good crowd today, are now featuring at every one of our calls a little bit of a development opportunity. And today we're so excited because Joanna is going to share some tips on how to keep ourselves organized as mompreneurs. And I know I have a 5-year-old typically running around going crazy in the background. So I know I am really eager to hear how Joanna does it because she's got 3. I can only barely manage the 1. So we're going to have a really great update from Joanna. And so everybody just stay tuned. And again, just know, go to our YouTube channel. Feel free to share it. We do record these. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Nancy to kick us off.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone, and happy May. And welcome to our town hall meeting. And the way these work is, as Steph said, is we always have a little mini workshop, and we're excited that Joanna is presenting today. But first, I'd like to just kind of go around with our regional directors and have each of them give an update on what's going on in their part of our territory. And then I'll try to give you all an update on WBEC as well. Okay, so Steph, you want to go ahead and start? What's going on in North Florida?
Yes, so there are some exciting things now that we have reached May, and as many of you know, we've had plenty of weeks to really, I think, start getting into the sync of things and the swing of all these new things. And so this week, not only am I excited because our own Nancy Allen is going to be presenting at our first virtual meeting with the Women with Vision Council at the St. John's Chamber, so that's Thursday. Also, the Women's Council up at Jacksonville Chamber is hosting their first virtual meetup on Wednesday. So it's a really big week. And if you're a member of either one of those chambers, or even if you're not, both of those events are free. And so make sure that you jump in. So again, the Jacksonville Chamber on Wednesday, the St. John's Chamber with Nancy giving a great presentation on transition on Thursday. The other thing that I wasn't sure everybody knew up here in North Florida, if you go on the Jacksonville Chamber website, there is actually a partnership with ViStar Credit Union in the city of Jacksonville to do a small business relief program. It's only $1,000, but still every little bit helps. And so I will make sure to post that link in the chat here so that you guys can find it. But again, I wasn't sure. I found it over on the chamber website. And so make sure that you go, it's worth it to go and have a look at all of these loans that are out there. This is specifically for small businesses in the Jacksonville area. So definitely make sure that you go check that out. And then the other thing, again, is to go back on both the chamber sites. You hear me talk a lot about the chamber because they have both, they've all been doing a really great job here up in North Florida. One of my favorite things has been the webinars that they're doing. And so if you need any help or have any questions, as we talked about last week, a lot of the programs are opening up with other banks, so you not necessarily have to work with your bank. And so there's some really great webinars that the chambers have all been doing on that. And as well as I know down in the other areas, SBDC, but we've been seeing a lot of activity coming out of our chambers up here in North Florida. So definitely make sure that you are checking those out. The other thing, and I'm sure we'll all talk about this with the openings, is to definitely make sure that you sign up for your updates from your local city. What I have found, and especially I laugh because I live on the border of 2 counties. And so, for example, with our beaches, like part of my beach is in one county and part of my beach is in the other county. So it's really been confusing because both counties are doing something different with regards to how we use our beaches. And so that's just one example of why it's really important to have signed up for alerts from your local city, because everybody, while the governor has mandates that have come down, some of the cities, based on how things are going, like down there, and Nancy will talk about Miami, is completely different than all of us up here. And so because some of those things may be different as to what they are allowing to open and not, please make sure that you go to your local city website. Most of them have an alert you can sign up for. So I get an email almost every day from the city of Palm Coast and the city of St. Augustine, because those are my two closest cities. And that lets me know who is open, what hours, what you can do, what you can't do, and all of those things. And it will be very, very useful because, again, just remember, and we can talk about this more, but the governor has a level of what he's doing, and then the cities have a level that they're able to, based on what they're seeing, make some extra decisions, especially around as we're looking right now. And I know, Jana, you may want to talk about this, but as we're getting into summer, I know a lot of parents have questions about what's going to happen with summer camps. And so, for example, my daughter's school may not be able to take her because they may be restricted to essential workers only for the summer. However, we've got the Alligator Farm and some other places that have opened up have opened up summer camps now because they're outdoor spaces and they meet all these criteria. That could be a great resource for me, so I can get, not that I'm not working, but have even some more time, plus get my daughter out of the house. So again, just make sure that you sign up and are getting those updates. And I do want to invite you guys to remember to join all of us for our virtual meetups every night, because they are such a great way to chat. So that's, mainly it. Sign up for the websites, for the chambers and for the city website so that you're getting your updates, because I just laugh living in 2 counties practically. It's like on this side of the beach you can have a chair, but on that side of the beach you can't.
Great. Thanks for that great update. Steps. Diane, how about you? What's going on in Orlando and Central Florida?
Okay, well, first I want to piggyback on what Steph said on one thing. The nightly meetups, for those of you who aren't aware, Monday night is South Florida, so Nancy and Emily run that one every Monday. Tuesday night is Central Florida, and I run that with Nancy every Tuesday. Wednesday night is West Florida, so Tampa Bay area with Joanna and Nancy. And then Thursday is North Florida with Steph and Nancy. And those are open to anyone. We just say that they're by geographic location, just because sometimes it's fun to talk to people who are from your area, but we've all been popping into all the other ones, haven't we? So it's been really fun. And in those, you can be on the screen and we can actually have a conversation rather than us talking to you and you all listening and chatting with us. So
right.
It's been really helpful. We've had some really great, almost like mastermind sessions to be able to work out some specific issues you all are facing. So we're hearing great stuff about that. So in Central Florida, I wanted to talk about this really interesting, I'm looking at my notes, a survey that was done by the Orlando Regional Chamber and also the Orlando Economic Partnership, which is a combination of the Chamber and our Economic Development Commission and some other groups. So they did this survey of small businesses. They set aside 4 surveys. They've done 2 that they could report to us on last week. And then there's another one that's underway right now. So if you haven't taken it, it's really helpful because it's helping them to decide how to help us. They said that 87% of the businesses as of the second survey have been negatively impacted here in Central Florida. And that is up from 74% in the first survey in mid-March. They are hoping to see a plateau with this third survey, so they're not really sure. But already in that second survey, 9% of the businesses responding said their cash reserves have already been exhausted. That 57% of all the money that's being put out is coming from payroll, and that's no surprise. But also other operating expenses and rent are figured in there. So people are really struggling. And I'm telling you this because you're not alone. If you're struggling at all, you're not alone. 36% had applied for some assistance programs, either through the state or the federal programs. So this third survey is asking why, if you haven't applied, why you haven't. Because they want to know if it's because you don't qualify, your company doesn't qualify, or you think you're going to be able to ride it out, or what is the reason. So it's really cool. And they also have something where you as a business owner can get online through OEP and the chamber and look at the social media, and you can put in what your answers are, and then you can get a little chart, like a graph that shows how your answers compare to others. And you can even say, well, I only want to know about businesses that are in retail or whatever. So really great service they're doing with us. They have started some other programs. They started them before COVID, but kind of ramped them up. And one of them is really cool. It's called Pick Up Skills. And then there's something called Upskill Orlando. So what they're doing is through these, they're looking for people who are trying to find jobs, and also people who are trying to find employees. And they're matching the people who are laid off with the people who are really looking. So let's say the hospitals needed more people. Instead of saying, okay, we have to have people with hospital backgrounds, they're looking at people who have skills that'll translate. So they started really looking into the people who've all been laid off from jobs in hospitality. So if your company is looking for a specific types of jobs to fill right now because you're ramping something up, like Emily, ramping up on you needed more sewers for a while there, then this is a great resource. And then also I had a discussion last week with Career Source of Central Florida, and they're doing the same kind of thing, really trying to match. So there are lots of resources out there besides the money. There are resources to help you find the right kind of help you need, even if it's temporary.
Mm-hmm. Great. And Diane, could you put those links in the chat so everyone can have them?
Yes, I certainly will.
And do you want to say a little bit about Go for the Greens and what's going on this week?
Yes, that sounds great. So Go for the Greens is another nonprofit that is in very big partnership with WBEC Florida and all of WBEC. And we've been putting on some national and international sessions. So this week we have as a special guest, we have Duke Energy. So Tanja Graham from Duke Energy is going to be speaking about how to do business with them. So they have some very distinct needs, just like any other company right now. And then we'll be able to hear about that. We've had 4 sessions so far. 3 of them are now on YouTube, on the Go for the Greens YouTube channel. And one of them was Nancy Allen doing a presentation on how to beef up your capabilities statement. So right now it's a really good time to be doing that if you haven't done it already. So that is every Wednesday from 2 to 3 Eastern time. I think we're all on Eastern time. So so that's every Wednesday, and that's on Zoom, and I'll put the link for that as well.
Great, thanks. So Joanna, you want to give us the Tampa Bay report, and then we'll come back to you for your mini workshop. You're on mute, sweetie.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Okay, so in the Tampa Bay area, the ECC, the Entrepreneurial Collaborative Center, is a great resource hub for you as business owners. It's a place where you can go and get the support that you need to help you with your business. And they are offering virtual classes right now. And these two kind of were ones for this week that caught my eye for you ladies. So it's today, May 5th. There's one, it's called Government Acquisitions Workshop, and that's at 2:30. So that'll give you some insight on how to do a business with the government and their expectations. I'm sure they'll review and go over. So that one's today at 2:30. And then also this afternoon, oh no, I'm sorry, that's May 5th at 2:30. So that's tomorrow. So you do have a day to plan for that. And then tomorrow afternoon at 4:30, there is a workshop. It's called Synapse, Libate, and Learn. And it's more of an informal workshop. And if you are familiar with the Synapse Summit, we just had it here in Tampa a couple months ago, and it's a great place for anyone in the innovation industry and technology field. And so they are a nonprofit, and they're doing these workshops. And this week's theme is a great a creator's guide to stand out. So you can check that out. If you have not already, you can get on the ECC's database so that you can receive emails to attend these virtual workshops. And then also the Working Women of Tampa Bay, they also have workshops that are geared more towards women business owners. And on these workshops, you are face to face. So I would recommend, changing your name so that they can see your business name, who you are, maybe your industry, and that will expose you to more people. You do not have to be a member to attend the workshop. So I'd strongly recommend just checking it out and seeing if you like the feel of the organization, and then maybe join. There is a fee to attend their workshops, but what Jessica Ravelli, the founder of Working Women of Tampa Bay, does is part of the proceeds go back towards women-owned businesses. She does a lot of support for women-owned businesses, so it's a wonderful community of women. And then, we have the SBDC. They are located in downtown Tampa, and Yanina Rosario already has been helpful with so many women in our organization throughout this crisis that we're going through now. And I've heard wonderful reviews about her. So definitely, if you have questions about anything pertaining to that or questions, and you need a more one-on-one support, definitely reach out to her for her assistance with that. And also the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce here is active, and they do online workshops as well. So you can kind of go through those workshops from the different organizations and then plan your day around them if they work for you, or sign up, and then you can review them later since you'll have that Zoom link for most of them. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it here in Tampa.
Beautiful, thank you. We'll circle back for your mini presentation. Emily, tell us what's going on with Treasure Coast and Palm Beach counties.
Hey, well, hello everyone. I have a list of resources to share with you today, and following on the theme of workshops, there is no end of workshops and virtual resources that people can avail themselves to. And I've received various emails from like the city of Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to highlight that, also what's going on in Fort Pierce. Let me start with a little overview of some of these workshops that are coming on. Some of them are being presented by the city of Fort Lauderdale, and others are just kind of information they're just sharing that's general. They have things like starting your own business. And before I even go into it, the workshops cycle around. So maybe if you miss one, it will happen again, some of them. So the one I'm going to share with you, start your own business, for those who are new to this whole business world, that happened last week, but they're going to have another one. They have growing your business as the economy restarts, a webinar series, managing your business remotely in times of uncertainty. That's some of the topics. Another one is how to position your business in this time of disruption, and so on and so on. So they also even have a workshop of introduction to QuickBooks versus online QuickBooks versus desktop QuickBooks, which is important for people to know that distinction and that the features are different. How to get federal government business without bidding and red tape. That's on Wednesday, May 20th. It's an online workshop. So this is an email list, which I can get the web link and include for people. Also, it includes basics of grant writing, and then they have them all in Spanish as well. So that's one thing. Then the other, here in St. Lucie County, the city of Fort Pierce actually today is launching their a grant, their disaster recovery grant program. Last week I shared about Boynton Beach. Well, this week, it seems that different counties and cities are rolling out their own respective programs. So today the city of Fort Pierce has launched their application for people to apply, and businesses can get anywhere from grants from $3,000 to $7,500, and they also have rent assistance for individuals for their mortgages or their rent payments as well. So I have the link for that where people can get more information on it. And also I would like to share, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the website helloalice.com. And this is a website geared towards women in business and providing resources. Well, they too have a special emergency grant that they are offering. It's up to $10,000. And so that's open for any businesswoman, I guess, anywhere to apply for. And they have a lot of great resources as well on their website, trying to help people through this time. So I want to just direct people to that. There's just so many things. I could kind of go on and on. There are things for women of color. There is an eLab program with Shea Moisture that they have a community commerce fund to promote e-learning and so on. So it's quite a bit. So if you go to the site, you'll be able to scroll through the things of interest.
Right. And Emily, we're getting a question about the name of that website again. So could you just tell us the website and then type it in
Yes.
after you're done, type it into the chat.
Yeah, that was hello. I'll type it hello Alice, ALICE.com. And when you go on there, the homepage will their COVID resources, and it will include that grant. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I think the theme, as we've said, is really just to stay informed, right? And make sure that you take advantage of all of the programs available for your local county and city government. If you just go into, you type in your city or your county.gov for government, and just type in business resources, a bunch of things should pull up for you. I'd like to remind everybody that WBEC, our national program, is helping to connect you if you have special COVID-related products and services. WBEC is helping to connect you to our national corporate sponsors. They're keeping a running list of everyone who has products and services that they can provide, whether or not you are certified for that particular product or service. You can get on the COVID-19 list on WBEC. So reach out to us if that's something of interest to you and you haven't actually applied. Please reach out to us. We've had some stories of great success where some corporations have connected with WBEs, and also where WBEs have connected with other WBEs to create strategic alliances. So it's a really great resource. And WBEC also has other resources. We've been talking about education and programs, and don't forget that the Dorothy Brothers Scholarship Award is still active, and you can apply for that. Maybe take this time to build on a skill, or learn something new. And you can apply just by going to the WBEC website and looking for Dorothy Brothers Scholarship. Okay. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joanna and ask her to do her mini workshop, and then maybe we'll take some questions.
Okay. All right. Hi, everybody again. So I know that, all of you may or may not have kids at home, but you may know somebody that has kids at home. So hopefully these tips will help you with them. And also, I think that some of these tips can be helpful for you, even if you don't have kids. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, you're going to share your screen?
Yes, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to share a little bit about myself. So I was a former teacher before this, and I taught for about seven years, and then I had my son, and then I became a stay-at-home mom. because I just loved him, loved everything about being a mom. And then I was starting to get bored at home a little bit. And then Nancy was like, okay, why don't you do these site visits? And so I started doing site visits. And then I had twins. So then I had to back off and start all over again with being at home and doing nothing except for being with my kids. And then now I'm in this role right now. And so it is a little bit more of more work. And so I have found that I've been able to find a balance between, you know, being a working mom and a mom. And so I just wanted to share a couple tips that might help you get through this. You know, this is really a crisis schooling. It's not your typical homeschool life, you know, if you even homeschooled. So this is, let's call this crisis schooling and surviving. So how we can get through this. And so what I have found is I like to use a side-by-side schedule. And a side-by-side schedule just basically means, you know, I set a schedule for myself, and a schedule for my son and for the twins, and even my husband. I include him in my side-by-side schedule. And what it means is basically is, what are you doing, right? And then what is your child doing that during that time? So some tips for a productive day is start by planning out your non-negotiables. So for me, exercise is a non-negotiable. I try to exercise 4 to 5 days a week. And so it just works well to do it, you know, while I'm working. So I try to get up before the kids. And then if for whatever reason I can't, you know, later in the day, outside time, instead of us just going outside for a leisurely walk or a bike ride or scooter ride, I'll go ahead and do my 2-mile run and get it out of the way. And then, you know, your work time. So from 1 to 3, my twins are napping during that time. So I have my son doing more independent activities, and then I'm able to do my work time. And I try the side-by-side schedule. You know, my husband, I include him in it so that like he gets breaks for work. You know, he's working at home. So when he has a break, he can help out also around the house. So you're kind of including everybody and making sure everyone has a plan. So once you've developed your schedule, then you work with your child on a schedule for their non-negotiables. You know, you can talk about school. There are things that are non-negotiable. There's reading, writing, math, science. And so you can let them decide what order do they want to do it in. Does it really matter if they do science first or math first? You know, so then you have them create their schedule, and then you do it in a childlike format for them. And you can even do a schedule for yourself if you need to for that day. You know, what is your to-do list? What are things that you need to get accomplished that day? And write it down. And so another thing I recommend is having a morning meeting with the family. So when we have breakfast in the morning, we talk about our schedule for the day. If something might be different, how is it going to be different? And we also have like a theme. So we had a theme of sharing last week. And this week we're talking about kindness. So whatever I see we kind of need to work on, that's like our word of the week. I try to find like a quote or something, but really we talk about kindness. What does it look like? What does it sound like? And then focus on that all week. And let's see. So I said to include all family members in your schedule so that they can help you out. And then at the end of each day, do a debrief with your family. So, okay, how did our day go? What are things that went well? What are things that we could have worked on? Did you show kindness? Oh, you did a great job when you showed your brothers, you know, kindness by giving them a compliment. So that's that. These are some resources that I found helpful through this time. My kids are on electronics, you know, a lot longer than I would want them to be. But, you know, once again, this is crisis schooling. So these are some resources, you know, YouTube. There's a lot of math and reading stuff on there that's helpful. So Jack Hartman is he's like a singer, and he does math and and reading songs. And we use that a lot when we're teaching letter sounds. So you want to teach your kids the proper letter sounds and the sounds that they make. So you can watch these YouTube videos with your kids like a couple of times to see what the proper sounds are. And there are also a lot of read aloud books. So during lunchtime, I usually play like a read aloud book. And it's good for kids to hear another adult reading other than your voice. So instead of just watching a nonsense show, why not listen to a book? And there are books that have won awards, so why not have them listen to those good books? So then you have Netflix, Leap Letter Frog sounds. That's another one that will work with sounds. Now on the computer, there's a program through our district. It's called iReady. If you are familiar with it, then that's great. I would definitely have your child on there because it's a free resource from the district. You can ask your teacher currently, you know, what are they doing, offering as far as free resources, and see, and hopefully these free resources will be extended through the summer. And so this is another great one. It's called Get Epic. And it's a resource and plethora of material that's educational for a child with books and videos. So I would definitely check them out if you haven't already. So Safe Search Kids is kind of like a Google. I think my son's not old enough yet for this, but as he gets older, this is something that it's like a search engine I'd have on his computer. Normally we research things together, but you can have your child do little research projects. If they have a question, you know, this weekend we found a baby blue jay, well, a fledgling blue jay. And so I did research but with him, but you know, if he was a little bit older, he could do some research on it, maybe do a project with that. So just taking their everyday life and trying to dive a little bit deeper into it is a natural, organic way of learning. But here we have a PBS Kids app. That's another great one. And then the Cosmic Kids Yoga Adventures. This is if you need, you know, some downtime, but your child needs to do some exercise in the house. That's a good like 20 minutes where they can be doing their yoga and then you are doing some work. I'd recommend doing these activities if it's their first time, like doing it with them so they know, okay, this is what it looks like to do yoga. I stay on my mat, I do my exercise, and then if you're going to do something else, you know, be sure to relay that you're going to be doing something else. And so here, this was a funny sign that was on Facebook. It says, "Mom, in a meeting from 9:30 to 11, do not enter." And then she has like answers that they may have, or that she may have for them. And it is kind of funny. And in all seriousness though, before your meeting, if you have a Zoom class or Zoom workshop or something face-to-face, 10 minutes before your meeting, you know, set your child up for success. Make sure they have all the materials that they need to keep them occupied for however long that you need. And make sure they have their snacks so they don't come to you asking for snacks or water. In our house, we do have like a pantry, like box cabinet. We have a pantry and we have a box where it's like the kids' snacks. And he goes there like if what I've provided for him is not enough. But typically we like to do a certain time of the day for snacks so he's not eating all day, because then by the time we get to dinner he is full. But yeah, so then also tell them give them like, you know, an explanation of what you're doing and have them feel like they're involved. So, you know, oh, I have a meeting and I'm going to be talking to other women business owners, and then it's funny because after the meeting he'll ask me and he'll say, how did your meeting go? And so then he feels like he's involved. So then also tell them that as soon as you're finished, you're going to go and come to them so that they don't have to come to you and say, are you finished, Mom? Are you finished, Mom? So before it all happens, say, I'm going to come to you when we're done. And then after your meeting, be sure to check on them. You know, if you say you're going to do something, follow up through that, because if not, then the next time you go into your meeting, he may not know, or she may not know, if you're really going to come out after. And then you can also do a practice round. And even if it's like for 10 minutes, say, okay, I'm going to do my workshop. You're going to be in the room. And okay, and they don't need to know that you're not really doing a workshop, you know, at that time, or your meeting, but you just go and do that. And then see what happens during that practice round. And then I would recommend hanging a sign on the doorknob itself, because I did have my son come in even though I had my sign on my door, and I realized, oh, if I placed it on the doorknob, it would kind of like stop him from coming in. So I placed the sign on the doorknob, and I found that more helpful. So this is basically how to organize your home to set up your productive day. So now you have your schedule, and so moving forward, you need to make sure you have your little spaces for that productive day. So make sure you have a cozy reading corner for your child. You know, your child should be reading at least 20 minutes a day. Reading is fundamental. You know, we have to read to do anything. So make sure that you have like books at the appropriate level for them. Make sure that you can have magazines, books, poems, song lyrics, and it can be a comfy bean bag or a chair, but you want to set up that space so that your child wants to go there. And I've seen, you can find a bunch of creative ways to make that cozy corner, reading corner, fun, but you involve your child in that so that they want to go into that space. And as far as the appropriate level, so your teacher should tell you what DRA level your child is reading on, and you can go on to Amazon and purchase books on these levels so that you know what level your child is reading on. The one good thing about the EPIC website is that it has books, organized by interest and also by level. So then you can see you can make sure your child is growing naturally as they're reading. And so for their free time, there's that big chunk of the day where my child needs to be working on his work while I'm working on my work. So we call that, free time or genius hour. It's like his time to be creative. And even for adults, we probably should have like a creative time in our day to do something else other than work and cooking and exercise. So, have a desk for your child with art supplies and the bin with knickknacks, buttons and stickers and even twigs. So you'd be surprised what kind of things your child would come up with. And you can also keep it all in a box and then put that box away. And then when it's time for free time, they pull that box out with whatever project, they're currently working on. We did paint, the rocks where you do positivity notes on them. We, that morning for our exercise, we went on the walk, we found rocks, and then that afternoon and that for the rest of the week, he got to decorate the rocks, so painting them and then letting them dry. And then the next day he applied his stickers. And so, make it you can make one project last a couple days. And so the last thing is quiet time. Yes, we all need quiet time. I believe everyone does. So depending on the age, so the toddlers, they have their nap time. You set up the room quiet with the shades really dark, and they have their nap time. And so then elementary school kids, they need between 10 to 30 minutes a day, even if they're just laying down for 10 minutes and they can read a book or just lay down. So those are the options. So you can lay there quietly or you can lay down quietly with a book. But I think even 10 minutes gives them like a recharge, gives them a rest. And so then after that, I usually have my son get up, and that's when he does the cosmic yoga, and he extends, that's how he extends his quiet time, by doing the yoga. And then for older kids, they can maybe start to practice, meditating. Like, what does that look like, sound like? And the Calm app is something that I discovered a few months ago, and it's been like amazing in our house. My twins, they have story times. They have like nighttime stories, so we put that on for them before they nap and bedtime. And then we do it for my son also. And then for me, we their story time, there are stories for adults, and it really helps me go to sleep. And my goal is to incorporate more of the meditation into my day. And the Calm app has a meditation day by day, like how to do it. And so I have started that, and it's been really easy and helpful. So I do recommend checking out the Calm app. They do like a couple days for free, and then you have to start paying a monthly fee or a yearly fee. And here, finally, just do your best. Ultimately, your kids, they just want to see you happy. And so if you start your day and take a deep breath, and it's going to be a hard day, but you'll get through it, and smiling will help you. Just do that, because they want to see you happy, and enjoy them now, because there won't always be this young. And this quote is like one of the best ones that I've found, because I work so hard, and I was like, pulling my hair, and there is no award for being the best mom. So just do the best you can do, and we all are here to support each other and be here for one another. And so just celebrate the smallest thing. So if you were able to get through a Zoom call with someone, that's a success. Without an interruption, that's a huge success. And celebrate that with your child, because the more you celebrate and praise, the more you're going to get out of that. So yes.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Joanna. That was wonderful. And I actually, if you can go back and share your screen, that very first schedule, I'd like to talk about how business owners can do something similar, right? So those of us who don't have kids at home, my son is 29, but I can see how I could use this same schedule with my team, right? And I would have the shared schedule, the side-by-side schedule with me and different team members, so that I know what's going on at what time. We can match up our schedules and see that, okay, on a regular basis, we would have a call from 9 to 11, or we could have some, what I like to call just creative time, right? Where we just hop on a call and just discuss ideas and how we're doing moving forward. So even though this presentation was geared towards moms with kids, even though those of us who don't have kids, we can apply some of these same suggestions. So thank you so much. I love this.
You're welcome.
Same thing, Nancy. That's great.
Yeah.
I was also going to add, Nancy, too, for if any of you, I think a lot of people also might be caring for aging parents. And I don't always have to, but like you said, I think it's important too at this time. I love this because I'm like, I hadn't thought about me and my daughter, but then also I need to put my parents' schedule next to it in case I've got to drive them somewhere or do something. So there's a lot of different ways. I love the team idea, but I think this was, it's funny how we do things, and it's something now that I look at it, Nancy and I laugh about this all the time, how I go, oh my gosh, that's so simple. Why didn't I think of that? So this is why we share these things. So I love everything you shared. This was just so incredible. And I also want to comment about the creativity, because that's another one we're all very passionate about. And I actually, when my daughter, we do the creativity stuff together because I love to paint and get messy. And so every afternoon we pause like at 3 o'clock and we do something messy and fun. And I join her in that because it's a good way to unwind. And so I love that. I did have a question. You are doing so Well, but have you noticed, because I know with my little one who is overly energetic, and at her school, she's, usually there from 8 until 4. And they go outside like 3 times a day. So right now we're getting outside 1 time a day. So, she is so full of energy. And I even bought her, I don't know if you guys remember, Jana might not, but I had, those things that you hit and they bounce back when you were a kid.
Yes.
I got her one of those because I said, oh, well, we'll get some energy out. And so I didn't know if you had any other suggestions, because again,
Yes.
they're only getting out 1 time, right? Typically with us.
Well, so when I could go over a schedule like for an hour, I think. Like I was practicing this, my husband's like, you don't need to go in detail by detail for your about your schedule. But now that I'm thinking about it, there were things that I was saying that I forgot to mention this time, which is, outside time. Outside time for boys especially, we are outside like almost 3 times a day because there's a lot of energy, and at school they would only go outside once a day, and so that at our school. So it's interesting that you mentioned that 3 times. I know that an outside time doesn't have to be an hour long or 30 minutes. It can even be 10 minutes. Just getting them out, having them have some fresh air, even, doing a nature walk, rock finding something, or if you have a bike, a quick bike ride. Though it is very helpful to break up the day. And another non-negotiable that I didn't mention was not only work and exercise for me, but playtime with my kids. And so, yes, after my work, we play together. I don't have my phone unless it's an emergency. I keep it. That's our playtime. That's when we do science, because it's like crafty and there's like experiments, or we do like a family project then. And then, so yes, I do feel like these kids need to get out, and especially given the situation, the circumstance that we're in right now, they need that. I think that's one of the best things that they can do, honestly, besides reading. Get them outside.
And again, for those of us that don't have kids, this is really great advice too. How many of us have breakfast in front of our computer? Then we work for a couple of hours. Then we go grab a sandwich and we're in front of our computer. Then we work for another couple of hours, and maybe we're even having dinner in front of our computer, right? So this is really, it's really important that you move, right? And just changing your location can do wonders for increasing your creativity and sparking some new ideas, and just changing the energy around which you do things. So I suggest have breakfast in your kitchen or at your dining room table if that's not where you work, right? Have lunch in your kitchen or at your dining room table. Actually take a break. There are very few times where 30 minutes is going to mean the difference between success or not success in a project or a contract, right? And those 30 minutes could actually make the difference between success or not, because you change your energy, you change the way you're looking at something. And I'm a really big proponent that you have to get up and walk around. I listened to a really great podcast the other day that had 10 things that you can do to shift the energy so that you are not anxious throughout your day. And one of the 10 things was just get up and dance, right? Put on some music and just dance. And I think everybody can do that for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes would be even better, right? That's playtime for adults, right? Is just get up and dance. Okay. And for your employees, I think it's also really, really important to remind them that they need to do that too, because we get stuck in sometimes a really bad routine, and we can't see the forest for the trees because we're so stuck in doing the same thing at the same time, the same way, without infusing some energy. So again, Joanna, thank you. These were some really, really great tips. And I see in the comments that people really enjoyed it as well. So I'd like to maybe get back to the panelists. Do we have anything else to add? Are there any questions that we might have missed during the presentation?
I just want to thank Joanna as well, because that was really very inspiring, and all the energy and care and thought you put into all the tips are really excellent. And I love the fact that it can be easily transferred from one situation to another, whether you have children, whether you're running your business, whatever it is you're trying to organize. You can use it as a template or kind of a model to have the same kind of things to think about. So it's very, very useful. And as I put in the comments, I think Joanna should make her services available to organize those who need that extra push. So think about that, Ms. Joanna.
Professional scheduler, Joanna. I see this in your future. Organize us all.
Really wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Joanna, someone did ask if you had a template you used, or did you design that yourself?
Yeah, so I did design it myself, but it was just on Word. I started with my schedule, and then, well, I put all 4 boxes, you know, and columns, and then I started moving them around based on my needs first for the day, and like my son's Zoom class. And you know, as we move into summer, will we still have writing? Yes, but we'll be writing letters to family members. We'll be writing a list of things we should do, a bucket list. You know, will we still do math? Yes, but it's going to be in a different way, because this is the only way that I know how to survive. And I think, you know, having kids on technology all day is just not the best solution for us. So how can we change that and do other things differently? So yes, but I'm happy to share the template with anybody. I can set my email address here and then send it your way. And I hope it helps you and your family. And Steph, you know, you don't have someone that lives with you that helps you, but when you do have them, and on those days, you can add them to your column. Because my grandma used to come help out when the twins were newborn, and I had her on my column, and so she would also help me with like folding clothes and little things too, and babies. So
That's awesome. I wanted to add real quickly just an idea that came to me, and you guys will laugh, but back when I was still in corporate at Walmart, we started, this was ages ago, I mean, the early 2000s, walking meetings, right? Do you remember the concept, like to get out of the office, the same thing, right? The same exact thing, get away from your computer, and we would do walking meetings. And I hadn't thought about that till you said that, Joanna, that like, Nancy and I, when we have our calls, we could go for a walk and have a nice walk together virtually and have a chat. So I think that's another thing that people could do, because as we're all used to it, right? I mean, nowadays we're used to the fact that the dog might come in the middle. Or I was even listening to something on PBS over the weekend, and they were both broadcasting from their home, and the poor announcer was like, "I'm so sorry, my husband needs something," you know, in the middle of our broadcast, you know.
yeah.
And she's like, "Honey, I'm on with a broadcast, you know." But I think that this is part of the new normal, right? So the fact that we might walk and hear birds chirping might be a nice addition, because like you said, not only do the kids not need all the screen time, we're getting more screen time probably than ever as well, right? Because things that we've been doing in person, you, myself, Diane, Emily, Nancy, right, we're now doing on a screen. So yeah, so I just think this is so great. And those of you too, what we'll do is I'll share the presentation, and then I'll also, Joanna, if you want to send me that for the WBEs, I'll go ahead and post it in the community. So if you're a WBE and you're not in the Facebook community, please go ahead and jump in there. And for everybody else, what we'll do is I'll just send an email to the attendees and make sure that we get this out to you guys. And then of course, the replay should be ready by Wednesday on the YouTube channel. and you can share it. So
beautiful. And let me go back again to your, you don't have to share it, but your last slide talked about celebrating and how important that is, especially as so many of us now are remote, right? And a lot of people are working kind of on their own compared to when they were working in teams before, where you could actually share successes. So I think that as business owners, it might be interesting to invite your team members to send out on a daily basis to the entire team what they're celebrating, right? I got the client, I was able to connect with this, I started a new project, I finished a project, I had a great idea, whatever it is. You know, share those successes, because that's what keeps us motivated, is when we celebrate on a daily basis. I mean, I have a personal practice that before I close my eyes every night, I list 10 things that I'm celebrating about that day. And sometimes I don't have 10 things and I celebrate the fact that I got through the day. That was, you know, one of the things that I'm celebrating. But we can always come up with things to celebrate. And as business owners, again, because so many of us are working remotely, some of our team members might feel alienated. You know, how is my boss going to know that I am actually working and doing this or that, and that I'm being successful at it? And I think that you know, showing gratitude to your team is going to go a long way to keeping them motivated. And by them sharing their celebrations and then you going in and showing gratitude for those celebrations and celebrating with them, I think that'll go a really long way. All right. Okay, so it's about 1 o'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting concluded. Thank you very much, and let me remind everyone again about our nightly mastermind meetups. Right, so tonight is Palm Beach County, Treasure Coast, and South Florida. Emily and myself on Monday nights. On Tuesday nights, it's Diane in Orlando. On Wednesday nights, it's Joanna in Tampa Bay. And on Thursday, it's Steph McPhee in North Florida. And again, as we mentioned, you can hop on to any of these calls. You can hop on to all 4 of the calls if you'd like, because we get different people on the calls, and the purpose is to connect and to mastermind. So if you've got something that you're struggling with, that you're challenged with, some idea you want to test out, join us, and we will be happy to be part of your focus group and your mastermind group. So thank you all for participating, and we hope to see you on the evening calls, and especially next Monday for our town hall call. Don't forget the Go for the Greens call on Wednesday as well. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.